Have you ever wondered what it actually takes to get somebody to buy from your brand? It turns out there's an actual formula for it, and it's just not a guess. It's backed by Google. But it's not some trendy new marketing hack. It's a proven strategy that most businesses today are still getting wrong. It's called the 7-11-4 model, and it's the reason businesses like HubSpot and GoPro are dominating their industries today. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what the 7-11-4 model is, why it works, and how you can start using it to start dominating your content strategy. So here's the breakdown. The 7-11-4 model is 7 hours of content consumption across 11 different touch points from 4 different platforms or channels. It's that simple. My name's Chase. I've been in the digital marketing game for over 6 years now, analyzing, dissecting, and implementing the latest strategies. On this channel, I share my findings, successes, and failures, so if that interests you, be sure to hit the subscribe button. The 7-11-4 model comes from Google's Consumer Insights. They found that this is an accurate representation of how consumers buy from brands in the digital age. It's this idea that it takes 7 hours of content consumption from your brand's content across 11 different of your brand's touch points from 4 different platforms or channels to make a purchasing decision with your brand. To fully wrap our heads around it, let's work it backwards. So 4 different platforms or channels. This could be any variety of social media platforms that exist today: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of these platforms. But it could also be your website, an email newsletter, an in-person event, an in-store retail experience. Any channels that enable your customers to engage with your brand is considered one of these 4. Now let's think about the 11 different touch points. Depending on the channel, these will differ. If it's an email newsletter, clicks, opens. If it's social media, follows, likes. If it's in-person engagements, conversations that are had. Any touch point within your 4 different channels, it's the 11 of those that then lead to the 7 hours of content consumption that ultimately result in a purchasing decision with your brand. So then that brings us to the 7 hours of content consumption. And now you can think about anything like podcasts, YouTube videos, demos, blog posts, other content on product pages on your website, anything that allows a consumer to consume information about your products, your brand, your services. This is where this stuff falls. So we have a pretty good understanding of what the 7-11-4 model is. Now, why do I think it's so important to actually make a YouTube video about it? 2 reasons. 1, it comes from Google. Say what you want about Google, but they're pretty damn good about understanding consumer behavior online. And 2, I think this is a really good way for businesses to check their content strategy. Are you putting out enough content so that customers can engage with it for 7 hours? And are you distributing it through the right 4 different channels? And then in between those 2, are there 11 different touch points that enable those connections from channel to content consumption, or is it all leading to the same thing? Looking at these 3 different areas and assessing where your business is at, I think is a really good way to start figuring out what your content strategy needs to look like moving forward. So now I want to take a look at 2 different businesses that I think do this really well now and see how they're thriving because of this model. First up, HubSpot. If you're unfamiliar with HubSpot, they're one of the leading CRM or customer relationship management software platforms out there, rivaled only by Salesforce. In my personal opinion, nobody does B2B marketing quite like HubSpot, whether it's their endless library of blog articles on all topics surrounding marketing, sales, customer success, operations, or their endless YouTube videos, their endless courses on their own software, their witty comments on LinkedIn. They're dominating marketing when it comes to B2B SaaS across all platforms. So if we look at their content strategy and try to fit into that 7-11-4 model, they're really doing more of a 28-44-14. And what this does is it allows them to be an authority in the space. People that may purchase their product in the future look to HubSpot as a resource on anything from marketing to sales to customer success. And so when it comes time to make a purchasing decision about a CRM software, guess who they're going to go with? HubSpot. Now let's look at a B2C example, GoPro. GoPro has some of the best visual marketing out there, and they're also a masterclass in UGC. Their YouTube channel is full of people doing really awesome stuff with their cameras: skydiving, mountain biking, hang gliding, rock climbing. It's endless. They have all kinds of amazing videos, all shot on their cameras, the products they sell to their customers. But again, according to the 7-11-4 model, you need 4 different channels. So if GoPro's only outlet was their YouTube, technically they wouldn't be satisfying this requirement. However, they also have beautifully designed product pages, amazing email campaigns, and a variety of other outlets where they share their content to their potential customers. So when you think about your business or brand and you think about the 7-11-4 model, are you satisfying the requirements? Are you putting content out on enough channels to reach the 4 different channels or platforms requirement? Do you have enough different touch points within those channels to satisfy the 11 different touch points requirement? And then again, I think the kicker for most businesses, do you have enough content out there so that potential customers can consume 7 hours of your brand's content? If not, here's an easy way for anyone to get started implementing this strategy. Now, there's nothing special about this, but it really does help, and it really helped me kind of wrap my head around the whole model. So For my old school tactile friends, pull out a piece of paper and a pen. For my folks in the digital age, open up whatever software you like to use for mind mapping and flowchart creation. So step 1, make a bullet pointed list of every channel you're currently making content on. That could be social media platforms, that could be email newsletter, that could be your website, that could be a podcast, whatever channels you use to push out content, make a bullet pointed list and write down each one. Now, this may feel redundant, but again, I promise it will help. Right underneath that, make another bullet pointed list of the same exact thing. However, this time, leave room underneath each one to put a sub-bullet point of every touch point within those channels. So for example, in an email, button clicks or your CTAs, or social media, likes, follows, comments, or on your podcast, follows, ratings. Whatever the touch points may be, make sure to list down each one that you're currently using below each potential channel and platform. Now, to the right of this bullet pointed list, list out all the different places that these touch points lead users to. Whether that's leading them to your latest podcast episode, to your product page, to a demo request form, whatever that may be, draw an arrow going to the right and list out every single piece of content that your touch points link to. This is a super simple exercise that allows you to better understand exactly what channels you're using, what touch points are within those channels, and how much content you're producing, and then try to identify the problem areas and expand your strategy in those particular areas. So hopefully you learned something interesting. Maybe this video sparked an idea that now you're stoked about for your content strategy. I hope it did. And if so, be sure to comment down below what that is, and make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.